In an experiment to determine the spring constant of an elastic cord of length 0.60 meters, a student hangs the cord from a rod as represented above and then attaches a variety of weights to the cord. For each weight, the student allows the weight to hang in equilibrium and then measures the entire length of the cord. The data are recorded in the table below. Important things to flake. Let's flag that it's the entire length of the cord, so not a stretch from some equilibrium length, but the entire length. All right, they give us a data table, and then they say in part A, use the data to plot a graph of weight versus length on the axis below. Sketch a best fit straight line through the data. So this is relatively easy, probably not worth a lot of points, but let's see. The weight is 0 and the length is 0.6, so each major tick looks to be 0.1, so like that. And then at 0.97, so something there, we get a weight of 10, so 9.5, maybe 9.7's there. We get a weight of 15 at 1.24, so 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, that's half. We go up to 15, maybe something like that. 1.37 at 20, 1.37, so 1.3, 1.4 in between these two, and we want 20, so maybe something like that. And then 1.64 and 25. So 1.6, this would be 1.6 and a half, something like that. And then draw a best fit line through the data. So something like that. And then they say, using your best fit data, using the best fit line you sketched in part A, determine the experimental value for the spring constant K of the cord. Which means, of course, that we want the slope of this line. So pretty easy. We just pick 2 points and find the slope. We need to take our actual line. So I'm going to take this one because it's relatively easy to read, and this one because it's relatively easy to read. And I'm going to get that K is the slope, which is the difference in weights. It looks to be, I would say, 22 newtons and 1.5 meters. And here it looks to be about 8 newtons and 1 meter. So we're going to get 22 minus 8 over 0.5. I'm going to get 28 newtons per meter. As an aside, if you do this by linear regression on the calculator, you would get that the weight is 24.1388 times the position plus minus 14. So in which case you would say something like 24. It's actually unclear from the rubric that you would need to use, that you could use the regression. Yes, they say alternatively you can use the regression line as long as you then indicate that you're using the slope. So you could just do this avoiding the fit line. I would have done that because my fit line is not particularly great. The student now attaches an object of unknown mass m to the cord and holds the object adjacent to the point at which the top of the cord is tied to the rod as represented above. When the object is released from rest, it falls 1.5 meters before stopping and turning around. Assume that air resistance is negligible. C. Calculate the value of the unknown mass of the object. We'll probably want to do this as some sort of energy balance. So we let go of the object. It falls to 0.6 in a free fall. And then it travels an additional distance. So it's at rest up here, it's at rest up here. It's not at rest down here, but this is what I'm going to call, actually, I'm going to rethink that a little bit. I'm going to say that this is y equals 0. So this is y equals 1.5 meters, which means that this is y equals 1.5 meters minus the 0.6 that it falls. So my incredibly badly scaled 0.9 meters. And then I'm going to do an energy chart between here, the energy at the start here is just gravitational energy. So it's going to be mg times the maximum height. And then I'm going to say all of that energy needs to be stored down here, and now it's just spring energy, which is 1/2 times k times the stretch squared, where the stretch is the 0.9 meters. So I can just say mgy max equals 1/2 ks squared. So m must be ks squared over 2 gy max, or 28 newtons per meter, according to my earlier thing. Actually, I think I'm going to use the 24 since I did the regression. 24.1 newtons per meter times 0.9 meters squared over 2 times 9.8 meters per second square, times, of course, the 1.5 meters down here. So we get 0.664 kilograms. And their answer is sort of around 0.69, so this seems fine. Part D, subpart I, calculate how far down the object has fallen at the moment it attains its maximum speed. So it's going to attain its maximum speed where the net force is 0. Really quick free body diagram. We've got the object, we've got gravity pulling it down at mg, and we've got the spring, whatever it is, pulling it up at k times, let's call it s. And I want to say we would need to see that these are in balance, or that ks equals mg, so s equals mg over k, which turns out to be 0.27 meters. But we have to be careful because that is not actually how far down. That's the stretch. So I have to remember that my thing has fallen from some height, and it falls 0.6 meters, and then it starts to stretch. So it went 0.27 meters extra, but it had 0.6 meters to begin. So the change in height is 0.87 meters. I need to be careful about that to get full credit. Part D, subpart 2, explain why this is the point at which the object has its maximum speed. The easiest thing might be because at that point, so at that location, the acceleration changes sign. Changes to be opposite the velocity, so the object is slowing, or begins to slow. You could also make an argument for potential energy if you did that that's going to be the minimum of potential energy, and therefore after that's got to be the maximum kinetic energy. That would work. And then part D, subpart 3, calculate the maximum speed of the object. So we get 1/2 the mass times v max squared. Let's get the rest of this is mgy max minus mgy final minus 1/2 ks squared. So v max squared is, let's bring over the 2 over m, so we get a 2gy max minus y final minus, that's gone away, and we have k over ms squared. So we have 2 times 9.8 meters per second square times 1.5 meters minus 0.63 meters minus 24.1 newtons per meter over 0.664 kilograms times the stretch, which we said was 0.27 meters squared. You might note, I really kind of went a little redundant here. This, of course, is just 0.87, and I didn't really ever need to find that, but there we go. So Vmax square becomes 14.4 meters squared per second square, and therefore Vmax is just the square root of that, which is 3.8 at this point. So something like that. We get a max speed of 3.8 meters per second.